to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and become a part of the gang. Make sure you all are definitely paying attention to what's about to come, okay? All right, so as you can see from the title, today we are going to be doing a little chit chat about single moms in the military. I can't tell you about single dads, single parents in the military because I am only one portion of the half, okay? I am only a single mother, and I hate to say single mom or like single parent kind of thing just because I do have a really helpful, supportful, is that a word? Anyway, I have a really helpful, supporting boyfriend who is really at the top of his game as far as supporting goes. I have a big village, so I don't want to say single parent, but that's basically what it is, okay? All right, so let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so I should have got the documents to show you. I'll just get it later on in the video and then show it to you. So I do know that being a single parent, period, is hard. And then to be a soldier in the military, an airman, it's tough, okay? So I've already had to do one meeting with the sergeant from Education and Training, who is super dope, super helpful. And I had to bring my baby. Okay, and it was, I didn't technically have to bring her. It was more so just because I was told at the last minute to be there the next morning, so I didn't even want to try to bother anybody with getting help as far as a babysitter at the last minute. Okay, so because I'd have been like, yeah, I can watch the baby. Why you just now calling? You should have called me a week early. No, I'm lying, probably like 2 days early. But yes, I didn't want to bother anybody with that. So, and it was pretty easy, you know, like it wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't there all day. The baby just wasn't like running rampant because she was just so tired and restless and ready to go. It wasn't anything like that. I will say it's definitely challenging because being a single parent, period, without the military involved is a challenging thing in itself, okay? So I'm not gonna sit here and for the next 5-10 minutes tell you how easy it is or how easy it's gonna be to be a single parent in the military, okay? So if that's what you thought you was coming here for, might as well wait, click out now. So the first thing that I want to speak to you all about is basically setting goals and setting a schedule. Like you have to set the standard for yourself, your home, your children, and what you want to be the ending goal of all of the things that you are getting ready to put into place. So as far as a schedule, I would say a schedule is very necessary because you need to make sure that you are on time. Being on time is a big thing. You all should know that. So making a schedule is key to having a lot of things flow smoothly because it's like, okay, well, I know what I can and cannot fit into this schedule because it's a schedule, it's a set schedule, and I know what happens at this time on these days. You know what I mean? So it's like if somebody's asking you to fit something else into that schedule on a certain day that you know is kind of like, those days don't work for me, that day isn't good for me, you know what I mean? And you won't accidentally like overbook something on a specific day that you know just does not work for you, okay? So a schedule is definitely key to a strong foundation with being a single parent in the military, okay? Because of course everything is time sensitive. You have to be on a time schedule, okay? So I would say that's number one. The next thing that I want to talk about that is super important as far as legal and military, you definitely want to meet with what is it called? I don't know, I just had a brain fart. You definitely want to meet with the legal team as far as getting a power of attorney, just in case anything should happen. A special power of attorney, okay? So when I say power of attorney, I don't want you to think Okay, I don't want you to think that I'm saying like get a power of attorney for your sister or your mom or whoever's helping you to make all the decisions for you and your children. That's not what I'm saying. And first of all, before we get any further into this, let me just say that all of these things that I'm telling you all are things that I have personally experienced and went through on my own. I had people, as far as like, on my base, help me with these things and kind of walk me through these things. So I want to share it with you. These are not things that is coming straight from the Air Force or straight from the military saying that you have to do this. There are some things that you have to do, but I'm not going to say what those things are. This is my journey and my experience that I'm sharing with you all. Okay, I'm sorry. So the camera cut off. So, yes, like I was saying, like this is just a part of my story, my journey. Like I said, my whole military channel, my Nation's Princess channel is basically to share with you all my experience and my journey going through the military, especially being a single parent. So I definitely don't want you all to go back to your leadership and be like, oh yeah, because the Nation's Princess said, I'm like, girl, no, I didn't. I didn't say that. I did not say that. That's not what I said. But no, seriously. Again, this is not anything that the military is saying that you have to do. There are some things that you do have to do, but a lot of these things are things that I went through because I needed to for my children, for my family, in order to leave. So I feel like if you are a single parent, then there are some things that you may want to get in contact with your leadership about and speak to them about your specific situation. Because again, this is my situation, and these are the things that I had to go through in order to have certain things set into place for myself and for my children. So I definitely, again, I'm telling you that this is specifically for my situation that I'm going through or went through, and I needed these things to be set into place. Sorry, I was looking for lotion. Set into place for my family, okay? So let's just get right back into it. So again, special power of attorney. And I say special because some people think that they can just give power of attorney to anybody. And you can, but the way I see it is that if you're giving a power of attorney to somebody, that means that you're giving them the power to make decisions in the event that you can't. And I say special because they can only make decisions on certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like they can't make decisions on everything. They can only make decisions on so for like my kids, like what happens with my kids in school, like if they move, do they take my kids with them, and are they able to transfer them into a different school? Are they able to go pick my kids up from school if something happens, like if one of them gets sick or something like that? Things like that. Those are special conditions, if you will, that I feel like you should have set into place for your power of attorney. Because if you give them all of the power, they can do things like sell your car because you're not here, and you know what I'm saying. I just don't do that. Jesus, please look into it. Please be smart about it, and like really do your research as far as what a power of attorney is in the first place if you do not know what it is. Hopefully you kind of get the gist of it just from me giving you that little piece. But again, please make sure that you look into it and you do your research. Please do your research, and definitely make sure that that is something that you do if you have children. Okay. Also, I would say to do a family care plan. A family care plan. So a family care plan is basically like who's gonna keep your children for you, and then who's okay. So who's gonna keep your kids for you while you're gone? But then in the event that something happens to you, God forbid, nothing happens to you. Um, who's gonna keep your kids after the fact? Okay, so basically it's like I think it's three people. So if you're gonna give the kids to me, Okay, cool. But then what happens if I get sick and something happens to me and God forbid I pass away? Who's next in line? So then you list another person, your aunt, and then your aunt's fine with it, and then say, God forbid something happens to your aunt passes away, and she's married, but you've been living, the kids have been living this whole time, let's say 7, 8 years with your aunt and her husband, right? So your her husband can say, oh, it's fine, they can stay with me, the kids can stay here, they've been here, right? That's not what's in your plan. That's not what's in your family care plan, that the kids can stay with the uncle, the in-law. He's not blood, he's an in-law, okay? Because the blood part of the family, which was your aunt, has now passed away. That wasn't in your plan, right? So the next person on the list, which is the third person, is who the kids go to. Now, had the uncle been on that list, fine, no problem. But I think the next order of business is for the kids to go to whoever that last person was listed on that list. Now, if they get together, amongst themselves and decide yada yada yada, then whatever. But it's a care plan, so it basically tells you or tells them who you want to keep the kids in the event that something happens. So it goes from this person to this person to this person, and then I also feel like a smart thing to do would be to have a living will. So again, just in case anything happens, the money is already like listed as far as like who gets what. And because I have 4 kids, my benefits will be split 4 ways, 25% for all of them, so it makes up a whole of 100. You get what I'm saying? So if anything happens to me, of course, I have it set into place that my mom would identify my remains, and then I haven't gotten as far as to where I want to be buried. If I want to be buried, I want to be cremated. I haven't gotten that far into anything like that. I will, because it needs to be done. But I think that it's super important to put these things into place, because then it makes it much easier. Like, they're already grieving and going through a bunch of other things, so it makes just one more thing easier for them to do. So to have a living will is like I kind of feel like I want to be buried at sea. You get what I'm saying? So it's like they wouldn't know to do that if I don't have a living will saying that this is what I want to happen to my body if the unfortunate was to happen. This is what I want to happen with my kids if the unfortunate was to happen. My life insurance policy is already set up through my job as well, my civilian job as well as the military. So that's already taken care of. So I do feel like a lot of things need to be put into play as far as what's going to happen with your children, what's going to happen with your estate, what's going to happen with your body after the fact. Like, do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried at sea? Things like that I feel like should be put into place while you're already here. So again, no one really knows when anything is going to happen to them. So again, if the unfortunate happens, you are already set up in that way. So everybody knows what happens with the children, everybody knows what happens with your home, with just any and everything that could happen, and things that need to be taken care of can be taken care of that way. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is super important to do, and that is a thing that is like super important. Like, it should take precedent over a lot of different things, just because it again is really that serious. So I feel like the next important thing that you all should take into consideration is being able to still have a work-life balance, being in the military, right? So don't be so caught up in serving your country that you forget about your family and yourself. You still have to take care of yourself. You still have to make sure that your children are being taken care of. So as far as me being a military member, not even just a military member, but also being a single parent and still having a civilian job, okay? I feel like it's super important that my children have a great education. There's no reason that they shouldn't have a great education, okay? So, education is super important. We all know that. So, I feel like being a single parent, I want my children to have a great education because they can. Um, so, I'm going to share the fact that my job, my civilian job, is um, it's a lot. It's very demanding, just as the military is. It's very demanding, and I need to be able to get to the job soon if they call, or I have to work 12 hours when originally I was only supposed to be working 8, or maybe 16. I might have to work 16 hours if I get drafted, you know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of things that are put into place that could happen. I hope doesn't happen, but you just never know. They can activate the National Guard and then I gotta go. So it's no telling when um it's really no telling when you'll be sent somewhere. Like maybe they activate the National Guard again because of like what happened with them storming the Capitol. They didn't know how long they were going to be there. They didn't know when it was going to be over. You know, like you just never know, right? So I feel like because I don't know when things are going to happen and I work a lot, I feel like it's easier for me to have my children do online schooling. And I feel this way because, again, I work 12 hours already, right? I can get drafted and have to work an additional 4, meaning I'm working 16 hours, right? Okay. So, excuse me. So I go from 12 hours to 16 hours. So if I go to work at 7, my shift starts at 8 o'clock. I'm supposed to be at 7:30 for roll call. Get there at 7:30. My shift starts at 8. And then I don't get off until 8 o'clock in the morning. Most schools are already taking the children in by 7. I think my son he would leave. He would walk to school. They both would walk to school at 7:30 in the morning, and then they would be there by 8 o'clock. I personally, I'm kind of like a really sheltered type of parent. Like not like really sheltered, but it's important to me to make sure that my children are safe getting from point A to point B. Okay, so I would rather drop them off than for them to walk, right? So they would get there about 8 o'clock, and 8:15 they're late. I don't get off of work until 8 o'clock, and then let's just say that the other officers don't come in and I'm drafted, so now I work an additional 4 hours. I won't get off until noon. How are my children supposed to get to and from school now that we live in a different location that we were living before? The area that we live in now is pretty much a good area, I think. But again, I haven't been here long enough to know, so I don't want to put my children in a situation where they could possibly be injured or taken or just anything. You have to think about these things. So then another thing I feel is important as far as education for the children, I think that like the situation that I'm in now, I had to move and I live in an apartment now. I moved from my townhouse and I live in an apartment. So of course I don't want to live in an apartment, and we're supposed to be moving into a house next year. Fingers crossed. I'm speaking into existence. I'm manifesting, okay? We're moving next year. So to take them from the school that they're already in, right? To put them into a school that's here, just to take them out of the school another year later and put them into a brand new school. That's a lot, right? I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to keep moving them around. I want to keep uprooting them from the things that they know and are comfortable with. Another reason I say online schooling will be best for my children. I don't know what you feel is best for your children, but you should sit down and think about what your needs are and what you're willing to do. I'm not willing to drive 100 miles an hour from my job all the way back to my home, which is almost 40 minutes away with traffic, to get my kids to school. I'm not trying to be pulled over in an accident or hurting anybody else to try to get all the way from DC to where I live at in Maryland to get to my kids, to get them to school. And also that being a thing, if something happens while they're in school and I have to get to them, I don't want that to be a thing. Like, I would rather my children be home and there's somebody going to be here with them while they're doing school. They're already focused, they know what to do. I just think that it's super important, like being a part of the military and making sure that not only you but your children are covered as well. Like, it's a lot. So I definitely feel like you need to sit down, make a list, make a list of the pros and the cons and see what outweighs what, and then just try to move on from there. I definitely feel like that making lists are important. You can list everything that you need to do on a piece of paper, and then just start knocking those things off the list. And I feel like it's easier to do it that way. My boyfriend helped me do, again, supporting. He helped me learn that if you write it down on paper, you won't forget it. 1, 2, you can help yourself move things along faster with having a list, so you don't forget, like, oh yeah, and I need to do this too. You have a list, you know what you need to do, just start knocking the stuff off the list. So I think schooling is super important, not only for you but for your children as well. So definitely make sure that you are trying to figure out what needs to be done as far as schooling is concerned, with being a service member and being a civilian worker and things like that. So I think that may be it as far as all the things that I found helpful for being a single parent in the military. There is a part 2 that I'm going to do, because I do have a situation with my youngest son. And it's a lot, and I have to deal with that as well as being a part of the military, and I definitely want to give you all the tips and tricks to be successful as well in your military career and in your career period, whether you're military or not. And you're a single parent and you're going through what I'm going through, because this is a lot. And this also ties into why I say family care plans, a living will, those things are important. So I definitely feel like if you haven't already, you should look into it and make sure that not only you but your children know the plan as well, because they are a part of the plan. They're a big part of the reason why things are the way that it is. So definitely make sure that you look into make sure you look into that. And if you need to get an attorney or a lawyer, do it. I had to get one, but I don't keep him on retainer. So I guess if I need another one for another situation, I will look into it. And I probably will get one just to, first of all, the military offers that to you. So you don't have to go out and look for one or find one if you don't want to. But I think just for myself and my sanity, that I will obtain one just to have on retainer, just in case anything does happen. One other thing that I feel like may be important, it is important to me, and I'm getting ready to start this myself, is therapy. Because you know that you leave, there's a possibility that you leave. You can leave a lot, and you don't want your children to not have a safe place or a safe space to be able to talk to people and share their feelings and thoughts about what's going on with them. They may not want to be able to go to other family members, and they may not be able to go to you because you're not there. And then when you are there, you're on the phone, and it's not as effective as sitting face to face. So that is something that I'm going to start as well with my children. I think it's super important for them to have a safe space to be able to express themselves. So definitely look into these things. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that I've spoken about today, definitely leave me a comment below. And you can always follow me on my social medias and inbox me any questions that you have. I will be more than happy to answer these questions. And if I don't know the answers to these questions that you ask, I can ask somebody else and get back to you. But yeah, until then, I'm the nation's princess, and I will see you all in the next video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and become part of the nation's gang. And I'll see y'all in the next video.